Could the Trump administration have a rare chance for diplomacy with North Korea? A piece in today's Wall Street Journal arguing that a window is opening right now, saying that despite an increasingly ominous public atmosphere, diplomats and Korea watchers actually see a moment of opportunity, perhaps a fleeting one, at hand. After a flurry of activity in the first half of the year, the pace of nuclear and missile tests by North Korea has slowed considerably in recent weeks. Joining me now is the writer, Jerry Seib, executive Washington editor for the Wall Street Journal. Sir, thank you for coming on.
Happy to be with you.
Yes, so you see a window of opportunity. What are the signs of that?
Well, it starts with what you just mentioned, which is a slowdown since the summer in North Korea's provocative activity. You know, the North Koreans staged 23 different nuclear missile tests through August. There have only been 3 since then, the latest one being at the end of November. And that slowdown cools the international political environment a little bit. And moreover, it may well last for a couple of more months, because traditionally, if you go back to the mid-'80s and look at the pace of Korean provocative actions, they tend to slow down in November, December, January, and February, and then pick up again in the spring. And so you see here the possibility that there may be less provocative activity, therefore a better climate, maybe an opening for diplomacy. And by the way, that may be extended a little bit more this year, because South Korea is hosting the Winter Olympics in February and the Paralympic Games in March. And certainly the South Koreans would like things to be quiet during that period. You know, whether the North Koreans do or not is another question.
No, I mean, it's staggering that those Olympics are coming up in spite of everything that's going on. And it's something that we've been talking about for a while. And I'm not sure the public has really tuned into the fact that all these athletes are going to this area where, you know, I mean, it would just be sort of the perfect target to cause mayhem. You say, though, interestingly, that so is it one athlete or 2 athletes have qualified to go from North Korea, and you think that that will be a signal whether or not they do attend?
Right, and it's not clear they've really registered for it. The 10 they did, they're skaters, they did qualify for the Olympic Games in South Korea. An interesting diplomatic question here at the moment that people are exploring is whether the North Koreans will let them go to South Korea. That would be a good sign. It would be a sign that the North Koreans want the Olympics to go smoothly. But it's also very uncertain whether that will happen. And some of the people I talked to said you probably won't know until the day the Olympics open, because the North Koreans tend to be secretive about everything, probably including this.
Well, and also, I mean, Kim Jong-un has no problem starving and killing his people. So if he sends 2 athletes to South Korea, that doesn't mean he's not going to bomb South Korea anyway.
Well, no, you can't be sure about anything with Kim Jong-un. But I do think in terms of signal sending, sending his own athletes to Seoul would certainly send some kind of a signal. I think on the other hand, you know, people are in fact talking seriously about the possibility of a preemptive strike at some point down the road by South Korea and the U.S. If there isn't a diplomatic solution here. I just don't think it's likely the South Koreans are going to want to be talking about that sort of thing in February and March. They want the climate to be calm, not tense during that period for a good international show.
Do you think that's where we're headed, though? Because when you talk about a window for diplomacy, it's hard to imagine what diplomacy right now would work. It feels like North Korea is dead set on having a nuclear weapon, and that isn't something that the rest of the world can really tolerate, in spite of what other leaders in the past have said.
Well, it's a long process. It took the North Koreans a long time to get here. The argument for diplomacy is pretty simple. If you can get a conversation going, maybe you can stop the North Koreans where they are now and then figure out if you can roll them back. And by the way, where they are now is probably not quite as advanced as they like to pretend it is. I mean, they've shown they can fire ballistic missiles a long way, but they haven't really shown yet that they can carry a very heavy nuclear warhead on those and have it re-enter the atmosphere without disintegrating. They haven't shown that they can fire such a missile from a submarine, which they would like to be able to do. So there's a ways to go before they're really a fully fledged nuclear weapons power. If you could have a diplomatic process that stopped the North Korean program where it is, you know, then there are possibilities of rolling things back. And that's certainly what the U.S. wants. It's what the Chinese appear to be finally helping to make happen. It's what the world community wants.
Yeah, and so much of that is putting pressure on China. You know, it seemed like that was having an impact, that they were helping recently. It seems like they've pulled back a bit and have gotten irritated. What do you think?
I think they are irritated. You know, they had President Xi sent a high-level envoy just a couple of weeks ago to Pyongyang, presumably to talk about getting a conversation going with either the U.S. or the international community. It's not clear what came of that. Yeah. I think equally interesting, the UN sent a top-level official into Pyongyang, the North Korean capital, just last week. That hasn't happened for several years, and so there are signs of serious efforts to get a diplomatic track going behind the scenes.
Jerry Seib, thank you.